Hello and welcome back to Kelly60 Plays Xenoblade Chronicles X. Last time we dealt with tutorial. For the most part, I labbed on about the combat system and how the game works, as well as run into a second mandatory lesser enemy encounter due to it being a tutorial segment and all. And this time we're hopefully getting to at least to the end of chapter 1 and finishing the prologue. Because the gate is closed, the west gate is obviously closed, we must go up and over using this outer elevator. And for which, once we return, to the habitat, we get all these cutscenes. I mean, cutscenes. My god. We finished the prologue. I should mention, armor is real time. So if you, for some reason, got a really good piece of armor or decided, hey, I'm not going straight to the white whale habitat unit during the prologue, and for some reason decide, hey, I'm going to go hit level 60 currently because that is the level cap in this game, with level 10 being the cap for all classes.
Well, here we are. Not too shabby, huh?
Weapons, armor, all are real time. So you could have all the best level 60 equipment on your person as of right now, and you would be appearing with that level 60 equipment in the cutscene, so long as you don't also use the fashion gear, which is also real time. The only piece of equipment that isn't real time, if you turn it off in the options, is your headgear. But, as Selma said, welcome to New LA, the habitat unit of the white whale.
And so it was that another survivor came to join our band of refugees. Together, we resolved to forge a new way of life here on Mira, come what may. New LA was our beautiful lie to ourselves. Truth is, we were adrift, heading into the unknown. Our native home was gone, swallowed in a shroud of light. And our future was uncertain. We had no idea what fate lay in store for us. Only that we had to keep living in order to see it.
But yet, after this nice giant overview of New LA, we finally get the beginning cut title screen of Xenoblade X, I believe. Or we just cut back to the player character. I don't remember. It's been since 2015, 2016 since I last played the game. I mean, I started doing a test file a couple weeks ago because I was planning on doing this. I wasn't really paying attention though. Okay, so, just due to what I remember of how many cutscenes there are, I think I'm gonna extend this part by a couple minutes just so that we can get Chapter 1 done. Because Chapter 1's basically another tutorial prompt. And yes, just quick mandatory 1, 2, 3.
Brave citizens of New Los Angeles, good day. This is your Director General, Maurice Chausson. Today, I once again come to you with news I am truly delighted to share.
But
We
as I was saying,
10
there
White Whale crew members.
I'll have to extend it because
Fellow
chapter 1
pioneers
is
will
just more
rejoin our ranks
tutorial.
as citizens of
Unfortunately,
NLA,
I have
bringing
to
with
say
them
it's more
skills and
tutorial based
know-how
on
that will
how to
bolster our
do
abilities
certain
to
things
thrive
and a
and
certain enemy type.
here in our new home. This, of course, is only the latest success in our continuing efforts.
Director
And I can
General.
tell you right now,
For the rescue
the
and
Director
Two days
General
ago, ma'am.
is not evil in the slightest, so don't worry about it.
I stand here truly
From political aide to director general in just a few weeks. At this rate, he'll be emperor by next month.
for a better NLA and a better
Irina, Gwyn,
Nice work out there, ma'am.
right. Introductions. Irina Akulov, Gwyn Evans.
This one of the survivors, Colonel?
These
I'll try not to
I
talk
only found
too
a
much
single
over
pod
cutscenes,
intact at Starfall
but
Garrison.
I can't guarantee it because this is an
Wait, what?
RPG. There's
What
gonna be a
happened
lot
to
of
10 more crew
talking.
members?
Come on, seriously? Shosan was never one to let the truth get in the way of a good speech. Still, every last survivor counts. You can call me Irina. I'm with the Interceptors.
Me too. Same division. You can call me Mr. Evans. Or just Gwyn.
The three of us were in the
But-
coalition forces together. Specifically, the Special Operations Heavy Armor Training Unit, aka the Skeleton Crew. I was a colonel and Irina a lieutenant. Gwyn was a more recent recruit.
They're
Of course,
talking
they
about
keep telling
past
them we
times
don't need
on
those old
Earth,
ranks
so.
anymore now that we're here.
But
You're still
uh,
Colonel to me, ma'am.
a
No
thing
leader
about
will
these
ever change
cutscenes,
that.
as well as
And that's not about
normal
chain of command either.
conversations,
It's about respect.
is that it is possible as you look
And the
through
award for
those
best ass kiss goes to-
questionative menus that pop up, also increase infinity with certain
Well,
characters
I'd
that are
remind you
currently
both
in your
the man's
party.
unnecessary if I thought
Or-
you'd listen.
I would believe in this case also these
All right, ma'am.
two other
We should be
characters
getting back to
because
work.
these are
Until next
characters
time,
that could
Colonel.
potentially be in your party. They have importance
Right.
enough to be a
We should be
name
going
that's
too.
not
The
obviously
administrative
only
district isn't far.
just you're
That's
hearing
what
just
you'll be
now
calling
because
home.
of a quest.
For now, anyway.
They probably have an affinity chart with you specifically. But here we are, chapter 1. You're obviously talking about the new area. The first area of our game is obviously the industrial district, as they said, hopefully, was first through the west gate, and now, next cutscene. But here we have a less talkative cutscene of what appears to be a Skell pilot having issues with their Skell. And ends up crashing it. Yeah, it looks like Alma is pissed about something. Pissed or worried about something.
Damn it!
I'll introduce you because it's still before the cutscene's over. Well, the cutscene's over. It's going into another cutscene in the same area.
Look, I know what
This-
exhaust smells like, and it was exhaust in the cockpit. Just
This
check
is
the
Doug,
would ya?
who he's
Oh,
with the
I'm
Harriers,
checking.
as well
I
as
just seriously doubt.
Lynn, who is from
look at
the,
that.
I
The intake
believe,
exhaust
the
bypass is reversed.
Outfitters.
Oh man, it's a
For
good thing I caught that.
their
You caught
specific,
that.
like,
You're the one who cleared me to fly.
Everything okay? It's not like you to flub a flight check, Lynn. Good thing you had a rugged pilot like Doug at the controls.
Oh, hey Elma. How'd it go out there?
Lynn is the
And
typical
would this
anime,
be
um,
one of the
ver-
you-know-whos?
young, around like
Oh,
12, 13 years
I'm
old,
Lynn
but I'm the
Lee,
ultimate
top
whiz
all-around
at
handsome gal with
mechanical
brains.
stuff. While Doug is the brute with
Yeah, well that, doesn't usually happen.
We know it doesn't, Lynn. Look, I know what you're thinking. But believe me, young as she may look, and yes, she is young, she's actually one of our top talents.
Doug
Most
is
of the
more
time, that is.
brawn
Most of
than
the time.
brains, but he
Anyway,
still knows
you guys
what
heading
to
back to
do
the
for the
barracks?
most part.
Yeah, why do you ask?
As long as you're here, why don't I take you on the transport? It's a great way to see the city. I'll give you the grand tour.
That sounds like a great idea.
All right, Doug. I think
But
that'll be all
this
for now.
is gonna
You can
be,
clean up here and
my
dock the
god,
Skell.
I forget how
What?
bad the beginning of
Don't
the
mind
game
the
is.
exhaust. I'll take care
It's
of it tomorrow.
like cutscene
Don't mind
after
it.
cutscene after
Wait, why
cutscene.
am I cleaning up your mess in the first place? Lynn! Lynn!
Yes, and issues like that always happen. And as it says, for the rest of this chapter, these characters cannot be removed from the party. However, no, that's status. If you go to active members, you can actually change who's in the lead for which characters you wish to play as during the adventure. You're not stuck to your player-made character in those instances. Where am I going? I would have just ran all the way to the other side of the map, not realize I'm supposed to go over here again. I have more so played this game especially after Chapter 6 and 7. If you wonder what that means, especially if you're new to this game, I'm more used to, especially, you don't get your skill till Chapter 6, and you must be of level 20 to be able to use it. By the way, enemies at that point are rocking at least level 30 and skills of their own. Or mechs of their own, to be the least, say the least. As well as some other major points along the line.
Not bad, huh?
But
You can see everything from up here.
I'm used to not
Beats walking,
using the
that's for
transport
sure.
to traverse the area. I'm either using my map, that's on the bottom, on the touchpad screen,
It's like a different
touch
city
screen
every
of the
time.
gamepad,
It's
or
certainly come a long way in the last few
traversing
weeks. There's
the
still so
town
much
on
to be
foot to
done.
search for quests in the actual habitat area along all the paths.
Speaking of which, we don't really have time for a full pleasure cruise here. Why don't you give us the express tour, Lynn? Just the highlights.
Okay, you got it. New LA is divided into 4 districts. We departed from the industrial
I'll let
district.
Lynn
Doug and I were conducting
blab
a flight
more
test.
on
It
some
has
details,
food
especially the
production, skill
town.
development, you know, industries and stuff.
It's also where the West Gate is located, remember? Expect to pass through there fairly often. The only other gate out of the city is in the administrative district, but I'm skipping ahead.
Next is the commercial district. Restaurants, galleries, cafes, clothing, groceries, you name it. It's a veritable shopping paradise.
The CD is the closest thing to a downtown we've got. It can actually get pretty crowded sometimes.
Well, by NLA standards anyway. Day or night, the best and only bargains on the planet. To your right, the residential district. Housing, housing, and more housing. Well, plus a nice park and the cathedral.
If you're ever looking for quiet time alone, or want to relax and unwind with a good book, that's the spot.
Right? The park is my favorite place to just zone out and chill. And last but not least, our destination, the Administrative District, the nerve center at the heart of NLA. Note the distinct dual-level structure here. The upper level holds our administrative tower, home to Blade HQ and the government. Not to mention Armory Alley as well as the barracks where we live. The lower level there is a hangar complex for Skell maintenance and repairs. And this concludes our tour. We will be landing shortly.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yes,
We'll
thank
save
you.
the rest of orientation for once we're back at the barracks.
But anyways, yeah, as they said, you're not really going to be going to the commercial district, though, for shopping and stuff. You're doing that all the way up here in the administrative district. You're mainly going to be going to commercial, residential, for things relating to side quests. But we'll be doing that in live streams, especially post playthrough. I'm not going to do a lot of the
Enjoy your
post game
stay
in the main
Administrative District, and thank you for flying Lindley
playthrough.
Airlines.
Right. Let's get you over to the barracks. Then I should file my report. They'll be eager to hear the details on how I found you, I'm sure.
Well then, we better not keep them waiting. The barracks are pretty close, actually. They're set up just behind the giant blade tower here.
Yep. So they tell you where to
That road
go.
wraps around the
But,
left side and leads right to it.
We'll pass through Armory Alley, but let's not get sidetracked, okay? We can check it out later.
Armory Alley is the player shopping district. But, anyways, I was talking about field actions, I believe, last part, and never really went into detail. This would actually end up carrying over to Xenoblade 2 on the Switch. As stated, these are items that appear, or actions that appear in the field that you can tinker with some sort of object, whether it be biological, mechanical, or archaeological. When it comes to this sort of new world stuff, new world ideas, and
And here we are.
the fact you crash landed. Mechanical is based
Consider
on,
yourself our guest
especially if
until you
it's
finish
white
getting
whale
registered.
or
Feel
former
free to
scale
claim those as you
pieces,
please.
you're using the mechanical skill. If it's a hive nest, it's biological. If it's
I think I can answer that one.
the
So, you must
archaeological
be
is a little harder. It tends to be broken skulls of
Miss Koo.
ancient life forms or
What
ruin-like
can I say?
objects.
Beth is my middle name.
I ran into Doug Barrett on the way here, and he didn't seem quite so upbeat. Anything about today's flight I should know?
No, nothing to worry about.
Good. Be sure it stays that way. More importantly, Elma, you found another one.
But anyways, as stated earlier in the cutscene, this is Secretary Nagi. He helps with the
Now, as for officially
general
registering
blade
those
duties.
Why don't we talk inside? There's a lot of ground to cover. It could take some time.
But
Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me. You must be
this
weary.
cutscene's gonna drag on for a bit,
Please.
so
after
I'm just gonna let it
I'll
play.
put on some tea.
So, but I'm gonna have to talk over it. So, the basic setup for this game, especially after the tutorial. You'll come here to the Blade Barracks to start any story quest. And typically end the story quest, unless, it ends in an area that you are still currently in for certain certain points of the game. But I believe typically the endpoint is somewhere else in New LA. However, you typically start every chapter in the Blade Barracks right over here where this nice table is at.
Allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Kentaro Nagi. You may remember me as Captain of the White Whale, but now I serve as Secretary of Defense here for New LA.
But yes, he was formerly the
provisional
captain of the
government
White Whale.
has charged me with keeping the peace, so all military and police matters fall under my jurisdiction.
But
He's also my superior officer. And he'd be an excellent person to talk to when you're ready to start looking for work.
What about a job right here with Blade? He seems capable.
Let's give it a little more time. At least until he knows enough to be able to
The
make
game-
an informed decision.
essentially it
Seems to be
only has
suffering
10,
from some
I
form of
think
memory
10
loss.
to 12 chapters long. It's not very long in a sense. However,
Barely
especially for
remembers
later
anything,
chapters,
and nothing
it
at
starts
all
to
about
drag a
Captain
little
Earth
bit.
or the White Whale.
But some areas you
See.
definitely do not have to go to.
The entire lot
Technically,
of us have only been on this
you're
planet for what?
recommended to go to certain
It shouldn't
areas.
take very long
But
to get caught
a
up.
lot of
My
this
thoughts
game
exactly.
is centered around especially side quest thing. You have to do
Well,
certain
where should we begin?
certain sub quests to activate chapter quests. These I'll tend up
It started at the end, 2 years ago. The end of Earth. The
I'll let
casualty of a battle
this
between two
grab
more
on.
advanced
I might
alien
actually skip the last
civilizations.
two. I can do a better job than this. But
Their technology and
the
weapons
game
were beyond our
essentially
comprehension.
makes
We
you
were
go
like
through
nations,
certain
naked,
affinity missions.
powerless.
Meaning you have to
The
make
Earth
sure
was
your
reduced to
affinity is
ash.
also high enough with a certain character.
Blown away.
That is dictated by that specific affinity mission or quest,
I still wonder if I
to
hadn't
do.
been there.
or
If all
it's
of
a
this
specific
had somehow
sub quest
been
that
avoided.
you have to go find.
No one can
I'll be
know
showing
what
as
we
this
do
is a
know
playthrough,
is without
I will be
there is
showing
no
all
Project
those
Exodus
specific
and no
sub
escape
quests
for any of
as
us.
actual
Did it go
content
perfectly?
for the playthrough.
We are
Live
here,
streams
we
are going to
alive.
be essentially
survived.
just side quests that are not important to the
So
story,
yes,
and
Project
B
Exodus.
could also land me
Once we
more
learned the
additional
Earth might be
partners
threatened,
that are not
we needed a
necessarily
plan to
for
preserve
the
all
game
various
other
life
than
forms.
one.
That plan
And that
was
one
the
is
Earth-Light
actually
Colonization,
mandatory to the story, so that one
otherwise
has to be
known as
shown
Project
anyways.
Exodus.
Those of us who escaped on the White Whale spent over 2 years
But
wandering in space.
as they're going over
Hard years.
over everything we've already learned,
We clung to our
especially for
mission
this first
and
one,
to have
what we have done in the
habitable planet.
beginning cutscene, so we'll skip that. The world died due to alien life forms fighting.
Blade is
This
an
one,
acronym.
Blade is an
Builders of a
acronym,
legacy
but
after
Blade
the
is
destruction of
essentially
Earth. Quite fitting, I think. It's a relatively
a
new
organization based as the
compared to space, we had
almost
plenty
a
of provisions
governmental
and a
type
crew
of
trained to handle the limited amount of situations we might encounter in our travels. But of course, all that changed after we lost most of our
governmental
ship
type
and came crashing
organization,
down
while
into the
also
Earth.
being a
We needed food,
sub branch of essentially
search and
the
rescue
5
teams, surveyors,
things.
police.
A lot of
List
things.
goes
We
on and on. It was too
some
much for the provisional
special.
government to manage on its own.
This is also talking about how the divisions work.
The idea
Interceptors
was
help
one
to
central
seek out
organization
and destroy
with
certain
disciplines to fill these various roles.
indigenous life forms
The Corps was
that
pulled from the coalition
should pose a
military,
threat
so it's
to.
mostly former
I
soldiers.
believe that's technically Harrier is the offense,
Fighting
while
wasn't our most
interceptors
important
are. You take
Right
about
now,
this
we have a
indigenous
single
life form because
priority that
it
supersedes all others.
it's literally right
Search
outside
for and
the gate
recovery of
to
the life
the habitat unit, and it needs to be eliminated now.
Take a look at this.
But
The White Whale was
They-
designed to carry an exceedingly
each
large number of passengers.
outfitters
all of them
help
held in stasis.
make new weapons for other
All
blades
housed
while
in a
also
structure called the Life Hold.
contributing to skill
This is a complete
work.
schematic of that
There is a
facility.
division called Reclaimers, which
Only
helps
essential
with
personnel were
finding
conscious and
parts
active for
missing
journey
of
forward.
the
The
white
flight
whale.
crew, maintenance engineers. And of
This is the
course,
life
us
hold as they're
military, so we
talking.
could defend ourselves
The
if
white-
necessary.
this is the main objective.
The vast majority were in the Lifehold.
It's
Are
the
in the Lifehold. With any luck, they're all still there.
the Lifehold is essentially a black box, so to speak, of Earth,
We now know the Lifehold broke apart
of the
along
White
with the rest
Whale,
of the ship when
and
we
it's
came
like
down
the
on
mandatory key. This is our end game
What we don't know is exactly where all the pieces landed.
for the
Not
story
very comforting,
purpose.
I know.
But let's get back on divisions because that's the last one, and if I can skip that one, we're good. The other divisions are mediators. They're more so your like police, interior to New LA.
Yes. All citizens of NLA are required to register their name, age, and occupation. We also ask you report any personal assets and take a short survey regarding your current state of health.
They essentially keep together like civilian harm for the people who aren't fighting or who are actually just staying in New LA, running shops and stuff before the rest of humanity, as we're finding them scattered across Mira, can join back. Another aspect, another division, is called Pathfinder. As obviously stated by the name, they are typically tasked with finding the probe sites and charting the uncharted territories. But we're gonna finish chapter 1 first. But I believe the other, I think I got all of them. There are only six areas for what a blade can be.
You know, it's not every day we're authorized to let a civilian tour the administrative district.
Yeah. Nagi must really, really want him to join Blade.
Oh. I'm thinking of
AD
chapter
is a bit
2.
different from the
Okay.
other districts.
This is
Got
another
everything
tour.
Blade would need,
Oh,
all in one place,
God.
without any extra fluff.
Get a load of that skell. Even the way that they walk is so cool. Oh yeah, work it, baby. What? You don't remember what a skell is? That gorgeous exoskeleton that
But
just went by? Basically like the most
I
incredible,
should
awesomest
probably
super
just skip
weapons
this
ever.
because this is just the
Lasers,
beginning
force fields, bipolar
of
and vehicular transformations.
tutorial. But I'll go over what Lynn was talking about. Skells. Major or a higher level weapon, as I was saying. They can turn into vehicles as well as be a more direct assault for certain life form indigenous species on Mira that are typically more dangerous to people on foot
And it's
for
not
their
just official Blade
like
texts.
threat
Anyone
levels.
with a request is free to post here. Businesses, citizens, whoever.
Yeah, it's basically how anything gets done in New LA.
But yeah,
The board is constantly
mission
updated.
control, as they're saying,
Just about every Blade
this
will
is
stop by here at some point for a shift.
sub quests.
It's like our second
These are
home.
quests you just do
We'll
in
always
case you
find
need more
random
levels,
Blades
money,
around here, blowing off
equipment,
steam or browsing mission
well,
control for the
special
next
equipment
assignment.
that are more
Whenever I get free
so
time,
for
I'll stop
fashion
here first
gear
thing to check for any
than
missions I might be
the
suited for.
actual
Likewise.
practicality.
And if the assignment seems too tough to handle solo, that's what the scout console is for. We should show you that next.
Hey, who's giving this tour anyway? We also have the scout console, if the assignment seems too tough to handle solo. And Elma just said that, didn't she?
Hey,
Speaking of the next
Ta-da!
area,
The Blade
Scout console. As I said, this is a
When
game
the going gets tough,
semi
tough goes
similar
the
to an
scout
MMO.
console.
You can
know,
scout
to
other players
get tougher.
avatars if you're friends with
You do
them,
end up
or
joining us.
just randomly in your
Quickly realize just how important this little
squad.
task
You,
is.
after a
A
certain
lot
point,
of
you're
mission
allowed to
control
join a
assignments are too much
squad,
for any one blade to
an
handle.
online squad
They
that
tend to call for
missions
multiple
will start
members with
appearing
specialized
once you get
knowledge
to
or
that
unique
point,
skills.
where you can kill certain indigents,
This
find
console lets
certain
you search for
items,
and recruit other blades to fill
by the
those
way,
gaps
which
for
are
just
random,
such an occasion.
to increase
You can't
certain
spell blade
aspects
without
in the
T.
blade line.
Sorta. Anyway, awesome, right? So, you ready to join up?
Hang on, Lynn. Take it easy, would you?
What? I'm just saying you'd have to be some kind of an idiot not to want to join Blade. Or maybe a crazy person.
Oh, and here I thought you might be pressuring our guest.
But if you haven't
Apology
been able to
accepted.
tell yet,
How about a little
Miss
shopping?
Little Lynn
Now
here
talking about the stuff over in the
is
commercial district.
voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris, and yes, I especially if you're used to a lot of newer games where she's voiced in, you can tell it's her, and very well, and you can tell she fits the exact role. Okay, now,
So this street's what
as
we
I was
call
saying, you can basically join up with other
Blades
players
can
and
requisition equipment
help
from
you
outside
level
vendors
or
you
get up
I won't
certain.
lie. Most Blade
You want
players
other
face
players to
danger
scout
every day
your
of the business.
specific character so that you
Having
can
the
get
latest
certain
gear
special
isn't a matter
rewards
of
for
passing
doing
the
so.
fence.
You also
It's a
get
matter of
rewards for
surviving.
killing certain things during the
True
special
enough.
missions of
And
the
that goes
squad.
not only for your personal
Now,
armor and weapons,
Reality
called ground
only
armor,
has two
but
shops
for
for you to go
stealth
to.
weapons
This
as
one
well.
and the one next to it, which is
You
more
can
an
even buy
outfitter
whole
thing,
spells.
creating
Can
new
you imagine
weapons,
owning your own
gear
spell?
that might be even more powerful than what you can find or buy.
Right, the torch.
And
I think
the
all
other
that's
one
left
is
the heart of Blade
readily
itself.
purchasable
Blade
ones
tap.
that may work or of a higher level. Now,
Am I right?
now we have to go to the front and then head back to.
Really?
So yeah, Blade
The
Tower.
Blade
When
Barracks.
we come here, it's usually to stop by Blade HQ. The higher ups, like Secretary Nagi and Commander Vandam, will spend most of their day here.
But yeah,
The government leaders
this
too.
is not.
They're based in the
You
tower.
will
Guys
end a
like the
couple
new
missions
Director
here,
General
if I
Maurice
remember
Chasson,
correctly,
for
but that's
example.
about it. This
Blades sometimes report to
is
the
not
leadership here after we
necessarily
finish key
in the
assignments.
slightest
You'll want to
for
remember this place.
mandatory,
Well,
most mandatory
that
things.
about does it for our tour. So, what do you think? Pretty amazing setup, right? You can't wait to join
Okay.
Blade, right?
Okay, Lynn, seriously, that's enough. We're not here to make a sales pitch. We just want you to have all the facts so you can make an informed decision to join us, or not. Now that you've seen where and how we work, hopefully
But-
it made a good impression, but your decision will be just that, your decision. In
Just
any
so you
case,
know,
let's head back to the
if I remember
barracks.
correctly, this is a
Secretary
but
Nagi will be waiting.
foul must. So don't expect you to get out of it. But and that's the end of chapter 1. Ugh. But at this point, if I remember correctly, can't really show the map. But ooh, I think I have. I can't really do much. But you know what? I'll at least start I said I'd start chapter 2 because you can't do certain things without chapter 2 in place. So, I don't think you're allowed to leave until chapter
Yeah.
2. So, let's get that done. But and I think that's another like 4 to 5 minutes of them just blabbing their mouths. My god. Ugh. I should make these parts longer. Who cares? Once we get out of these first couple chapters, the small talking points will be gone. So we can...
Honey, we're home.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Gu, but I can't stay long. I just wanted to pass along a request from
There is also the
Vandom. Does it have anything to do with our new arrival?
Correct. He stopped by while you were out on your tour. He said he'll come back, but that I shouldn't wait to ask you.
Here we go. I bet I can guess.
You probably can. He wants to fast-track our new friend here for blade duty with a training assignment. What in the hell are we waiting for?
yeah, this is
Commander
about
does have
Falmouth.
great
You
words.
basically have to join Blade.
Even my pitch
So-
sounds smooth.
I explained about the memory issues, but he didn't see it as a problem.
But
And to be honest,
that's
given our current need for blade
the least
recruits, I can't
big
say I
thing.
entirely disagree.
But anyways, yes,
It's not me you need to convince.
I realized
Blade service is
right then,
voluntary, remember?
we can't go anywhere without
I would never force
triggering this
anyone.
chapter 2 quest.
Well,
So this part is definitely going to be a little longer than I tend to have done parts as of this point for
I knew
gaming.
you'd make the right choice.
But that's also due
Welcome
to
the organization.
this being a more
Wilma,
beefy
you can start
game.
on your
So,
team. You begin
and I
training
can't
immediately.
go anywhere until I
Yes,
deal
Mr.
with
Secretary.
getting chapter 2 up and running.
All right.
Literally,
Welcome
you're
to the
trapped
cool
in New LA until you start chapter 2.
Now then, let's discuss that training assignment. We've decided to start you out on a probe installation just to get your
So,
feet wet.
the first thing we're doing is Pathfinder duties. We're going to
Here in
install a
New LA, we're
probe.
using a specialized computer system called Frontier Nav to help us deploy a
They'll
sensor grid across the
focus
network.
on talking here, but
Network of
this
data
game
points
is
allows
so
us to
chatty at the beginning.
collect all kinds of
So,
information.
especially starting, like, especially
Extending that
chapter
grid,
3
filling in the blind
to
spots
chapter
is one of
4,
Blade's highest
it's going to
priorities.
become much
Here,
easier to deal with
what you're
everything.
seeing on
So,
screen is a
thankfully,
terrain map
once
of
this is
New
done,
LA and the
everything will be
surrounding
clean
landscapes.
and
As you can
fine.
see, we've divided the area into a series of
But
hexagonal
well,
blocks.
let's finish this up
We call
so
them
that then
block segments. Together they form our grid.
I'll sign off here because essentially after this cutscene's over, I'm going to end the part here.
Know exactly where we
Thank you all for watching,
now we just have to install them.
and take care of the rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the remaining parts of this
The
Frontier Nav
can also detect the
cutscene.
general locations of living things in the
And I'll
vicinity,
go over this
which
a
comes
little
in
more in
handy if we need to
detail
track down
next
Blade or
time.
another citizen.
Yes, quite handy indeed. So for this first exercise, you'll be heading here, to that white segment. Go there, install the data probe, and then come back home.
Got it. East of the city.
In that case, we can take the east gate out of the administrative district, right? We should be there in no time.
I'll leave the details on the data probe installation procedure to you, Wilma.
Of course, Mr. Secretary. All right, you two. Shall we?